Morning all, welcome back to the channel. Right, it's not a very nice day, it's a bit dull, overcast, and it's been raining a bit, and I've brought you back down to Sowerby Bridge. It's where I first started. My first couple of years I spent down here in police, working from Sowerby Bridge police station. We're at a little area called Tower Hill in Sowerby. It's just off Wharf Street. As you're heading away from Sowerby Bridge police station direction, there's a left-hand turn and you go up there, and it's a little collection of houses and a couple of blocks of flats, Horton Towers and Ladstone Towers. Right, the building behind me, it's a lovely big building. It's called St Paul's Methodist Chapel Church. Now, I recall here in 1988, one morning, there'd been a massive fire at the former building, a big stone-built Victorian Methodist chapel, and the place were burnt down. I can't really remember, but I think we had two lads locked up for it. CID locked the pair of them up, and this new chapel, well, I'm saying new, about 1989, 90, it was rebuilt, and it's a lovely building. At least it sort of blends in with the rest of the buildings around here. Right, we're walking on Greenups Terrace. I'm just going to see if there's any date marking on this building, this chapel, but there isn't. Walking on Greenups Terrace towards a block of flats called Ladstone Towers. You can see it there. Yeah, that's Ladstone Towers. The other one at the other side's called Horton Towers, and yeah, I think they're about 15 stories high. These blocks of flats, and as we get a bit closer, I'll explain a couple of incidents that happened there when I was working here. Right. Here we are at Ladstone Towers. Right, it was a Sunday morning. I was working with my pal Bob, and we got called to a report of a sudden death up on the 10th floor of Ladstone Towers. We got in there, nothing suspicious. That an old guy had looked like he'd had a heart attack and died in his chair, or just died in his sleep. His nephew had come along. It must have been about 9 o'clock-ish, going on till 10. It was found by his nephew, no other relatives, and he just obviously called 999. The ambulance turned up, we turned up. That's it. It was a pretty straightforward sort of job. We had one of the local GPs came out, and he was happy to certify cause of death. He'd been treated for a while for this heart problem that he had, and it just looked like I say, it looks like he died in his sleep or whatever. Yep, we got the GP out. He certified, and then we called for the duty undertaker, and after about half an hour, the local undertaker turned up with his stretcher and his nylon zip-up body bag, and they did what they had to do. They put the old guy onto the stretcher, fastened him in, zipped him up in this black nylon body bag, and we just said to the nephew, we'll get back in touch. We left our details and everything, and off we went from the 10th floor. We went out of the flat. I pressed the lift button, and it sort of came up, and we sort of, the two undertakers with the old guy inside the body bag, and the lift turned up. We got inside because of the size of the lift. They're not medium-sized lifts. They're not that big. So we stood the stretcher up with the old guy in it, and pushed it to the far side of the lift. So there were two undertakers, myself and Bob, in the lift. So yeah, we pressed down ground floor, and I'm just going down. I just thought, oh goodness, I hope it didn't stop somewhere else on us way down. It just sort of smoothly going down with this lift until we got to the second floor, and it sort of came to a halt. The doors opened, and there were two old lasses that were just about to climb in, probably on the way to chapel. They had the Sunday best on, and the first one sort of put her foot inside, looked at me, looked at Bob, looked at the two undertakers and the stretcher stacked up at side of the far wall of the lift section of the lift. She obviously sussed out what the crack was. She just said, "Oh my goodness," and she sort of stepped back, and we sort of nodded, and I did one of my polite smiles, and the doors closed, and off we went back down to the ground floor, and that was just about it. Right, I never have had much faith in lifts, especially with these flats, because let's say there's 15 floors. I think there's about 3 or 4 flats on each floor, so you can imagine the people that's, amount of people that's living there, up and down all day long. They do get a bit worn. Right, so more or less a month to the day after, we were on earlies again on a Sunday morning, and we got called to a domestic, which we thought were quite strange for that time of day. So me and Bob turned up, but the call was to the second floor. But the address they gave was one of the top ones on the 10th floor. I thought that's a bit odd. Anyway, we went to the second floor, and what it turned out, it was the brother of a newlywed lass who moved into the 10th floor to the same flat that we'd been to the sudden death in, with her husband. They'd had a bit of a fallout the night before. I think there'd been some drink involved, and there was a bit of an argument going on. So she stormed out, went down to see her mother on the second floor, and they called us. Now, there was no allegation of any assault. I think the mum sort of, I think she panicked a bit and thought she'd better call us. So we turned up. We're getting details, and like I said, there was no assault or anything. I think she was just upset with last that they'd had an argument. While Bob were taking details, I said, "Well, look, I'll go up and see him, see if we could, see what the crack is up there." So I stepped out of the flat, went to the lift, pressed the button, it opened, and off I went up to the 10th floor to have a word with this lad. Tapped on the door. He let us in. He said, "Oh, I'm just so sorry for causing all this upheaval. So we've had a bit of a barney. That's all it is. I just want to get back to normal." So I said, "Right, what I'll do, I'll go down and tell him, and we'll sort the job out for you, and hopefully that'll be the end of the matter." So I stepped out, went down to the lift again, pressed the button. The lift came gliding up. The door slid open. I stepped in and pressed floor 2. just so I could go down and have a word and just sort of update on what were going on upstairs. I got in, pressed the button for floor 2. The door shut, but then it started moving down like it should, and then suddenly it stopped. There were a judder, it stopped, and I was stuck between, I think, the 10th and the 9th floor. And I thought, oh, good grief, that's all I bloody need. So I pressed the button again, pressed 10, pressed all these buttons. Hopefully it'll just fly back into life and I can carry on my journey down to floor 2. But it didn't. So I thought, well, I mean, in those days there were no mobile phones, so I left it a bit, pressed the emergency button. Not a jot, nothing, absolutely nothing. So I thought, oh goodness, what am I supposed to do now? So reluctantly I pressed the transmit button on my radio. Told them it's 3678. Look, I'm at Ladstone Towers, and I'm stuck in a lift. The controller, a bit of a character, decided to so don't worry about it, we'll get it sorted out for you. And he promptly put the bloody radios onto talk through, which you can, as soon as you do that, whoever's transmitting, you can hear everybody's conversation on passing radio messages. So the rest of the team were obviously now aware that I was stuck in this bloody lift between floors, so they were passing all sorts of jokes and, you know, wisecracks and all the rest, and it was just more embarrassing than else. The next thing I knew, there was a tap on door. Like I say, we're between floors, and it was just a tap on the floor, and it were Bob. Oh, Martin! Oh, don't worry, we're going to get you out. We're going to. I think you were more worried about job than me. But he said, "Look, we've called for fire brigade and all this," and I said, "Oh, that's good." And then he must have ran back down to wait for fire brigade to come. And of course, with no lifts, he's up and down bloody steps, getting back down to the ground floor from the 10th, and waited for the fire brigade. And oh dear, there were more wisecrack jokes and you know, do you want a cup of tea bringing and all the rest of it? What about your sandwiches? Do you want your sandwiches bringing up? And I thought, oh, for God's sake. Anyway, there's about 20 minutes later, another tap on the door, and it were Bob again. They were really out of breath. They weren't the fittest of blokes, but they were tapping on the door. So, oh, you know, if the fire brigade are here now, and I could hear other voices, and there were another voice, obviously one at fireman, said, "Look, we'll get you out of there in no time at all." So there was a bit of a rattling and a banging, and I just feel the lift move, and I thought, oh shit, I was just scared to death the bloody thing was just going to go plunging down, and that'd be the end of me, stuck in a bloody lift. What a way to go. But it started creaking and groaning, and they're obviously winching it up from manually. So I got between the floors up to the 10th. And then the door opened, the lift door opened, and it looked like there's a saying, waking up with a crowd around you. And I saw the door open, and there were just a mass of faces, like half a dozen firemen. There were Bob, there was a young couple who had come to see, you know, come to sort this job out. And I sort of thankfully stepped out of the lift, feeling there was a bit of a round of applause. I just felt like like an Apollo astronaut stepping out after a mission. But yeah, that was that job. Like I say, thankfully I got sorted out and rescued by our gallant firemen from Sowerby Bridge fire station. We had his own fire station down here at that time. So I think it was Hollins Mill Lane by all council offices and swimming pool were down there. So yeah, that was my my little misadventure of being stuck in a lift. I think it was a Monday night. I'm just sort of reading through Courier, and there was just a little piece in there saying Sunday morning a fire brigade attended at Ladstone Towers to free a man who was stuck in a lift. Thankfully, they didn't say it were a bobby that were bloody stuck in there, so I've had even more bloody ribbing. So yeah, that's that one. Going back to the fire at the chapel, like I said, we had his own fire engine down here at Sowerby Bridge, and I think it was the same crew that I was talking to dealing with the fire that came and rescued me from my dilemma in the lift. Of course, when we turned up to fire, there were well, I'd say about 3 or 4 fire engines. So dealing with that, yeah. So that's that little jobs. Those little jobs done for you. So if you do like the channel, just give it one of those tick things and put a bit of a comment on there. And thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned for some more thrilling adventures. My heroics in the police down here in the Happy Valley. All right then. I'll say it's Sunday. It's only 8:10, so have a good day and everything. I hope the weather improves. I don't think it is, looking up at the clouds. It's yeah, autumn's well and truly here, winter just round the corner. So I'll see you soon. Take care now. Look after your son. Ta-da!